Very excited today. I get to share my official recap on the Licensing Expo. I went to the world's largest trade show in Las Vegas at Mandalay Bay, and I had an incredible time. I want you all to know why it's important to get into the world of licensing, or why you might be interested, better yet, and what to expect, and why I loved it. Okay, why I think it's amazing. So if you don't know, licensing is basically what gives a formal relationship between one brand and another. For example, I am the founder of Curl Cap. Curl Cap is a patented backless cap. I'm wearing one right now. And I am able to make licensed designs with, let's say, Space Jam, right? Warner Brothers owns Space Jam. So the licensing partnership is something that establishes a product that is officially licensed, right? Officially licensed Space Jam curl caps. Otherwise, it would be bootleg or counterfeit, and you can get sued for that. So the Licensing Expo is a great opportunity for people with toys, games, any consumer product really, and then of course creatives. This is where you have the opportunity to pitch or to meet, make an introduction, network with Disney, Paramount, Warner Brothers, Netflix, Sony. You have the big brands, the big dogs, right? And then you also have, which was one of my personal favorites and joys, meeting with other small businesses who also would like to license, right? So I met with Gracie's Corner. Yes, Gracie's Corner was in the building. I also met with Gabby's Bows. I'm so deeply inspired by what this young girl is doing and what she's doing with her mom. They have an incredible relationship. But I say all that to say, the Licensing Expo is where you need to be. This is also just to give you a better idea. So then you also have agents and people who are in charge of the likeness of, let's say, Ice Spice, Tupac, Bob Marley. You have all of these different brands and organizations that you're able to meet with at the Licensing Expo. And I was able to go through the WIT organization. If you have not heard and if you're not aware, I am the 2023 WIT Designer of the Year Award recipient. And so I've been a member of WIT for about over a year now. It's an incredible organization. WIT stands for Women in Toys, Licensing, and Entertainment. So it's an organization that if you're a woman and it fits those categories, you definitely want to become a member, and I will tell you why. So WIT also hosts a specific day. They facilitate, it's called Empowerment Day, where they are able to organize one-on-one meetings between you and a brand or a retailer to set up your pitch. And they walk you through this process so that you are built to win, right? They're giving you all of the resources to make sure you know how to pitch, what to bring, how to network, how to really connect. And it was incredibly rewarding to be able to experience the Licensing Expo as a WIT member. If I had not been a WIT member, I would not have had access to that specific part of the day. It's called Empowerment Day. But I say all that to say there are still so many incredible opportunities just at the Licensing Expo as a standalone. So when you sign up for the Licensing Expo, you're going to sign up through, you're going to make your portal and basically a profile of what your business does, who you are, and you want to really make sure people want to meet with you and connect. So you set up your profile, and then once you set up that profile, baby, you can go crazy. There's hundreds of pages of people who work at these brands. Like I said, you have a whole range from the big brands to the small brands. You can pitch to set up a meeting. So you are pitching to set up that meeting because who's going to meet with you if they don't know what you do? So you want to make sure you come correct in your meeting. In your initial email, that you're presenting value, that you're giving an understanding of why they would want to meet with you. We know why you want to meet with them. Okay. So when you're setting up these meetings, it's very important that you just are always presenting your value. This is the name of the game. And ultimately, people want to work together because they know that you understand that value. So one of my favorite parts of the Licensing Expo, hands down, was definitely just networking with other small business owners who understand their value and getting a lot of resources. And honestly, at the end of the day, it comes down to sharing each other's experiences, because there's so much to be learned just from what we're going through individually. And I know that mental health is important to me. I hope it's important to you, but having other small business owners to run your ideas off of and to really just help you to be encouraged, because it is very easy to get discouraged. In this industry, you're going to get faced with a lot of rejection, but you have to keep on pushing through. So just make a mental note of that, because when you're going to the expo and you're setting up these meetings, and once you finally arrive, and ideally you have a couple of meetings set up, and if not, also sidebar, you can still just take a moment of your time, get people's business cards, get their contact information, because the most important part of this process is the follow-up. But back to the expo. So at the expo, try not to get overwhelmed. Take your time, walk the whole thing, make sure you're seeing everything that's going on. You're going to be hit with brands that you didn't really expect. You're going to see Crayola, right? You're going to see Hershey over there, right? I mean, it's a huge room with so many different brands that you have grown up on. You're going to see Bluey walking around, right? You're going to see a lot. BBC is in the building. So you want to make sure that you're able to really have an understanding of whose business cards you would want to get and where everybody is, and maybe just noticing how the reception area is, so that you could, when you walk up, when you approach, you know how you want to kind of put some pep in your step. You always want to look like you're here to have a good time. And I mean, everyone that I met while I was there had a smile on their face, but energy is certainly something that you want to be mindful of when you're making these connections. Then once you have these meetings, I would say my personal advice is, I don't start with business. I don't just jump right into the numbers. I like to take my time. I like to ask people, how did you get into licensing? That question, that answer, actually, from a lot of different people, I'm going to say majority of the people said they don't ever recall intentionally going into licensing. We have a lot of people who just got into it naturally, and I think that that answer helped me to be mindful that this isn't something that you really go to school for, and you know that this is right what you want to do. So the human connection part of it is extremely important. So when you have these meetings, you want that human connection. These are the people behind the brands that make the world go round. So it's not about Bluey, it's about Liz. It's about the person sitting in front of you, that you're making sure that you leave a lasting impression, but that they also feel just as heard and seen as you would like to be feeling heard and seen. With that said, the next important part of this process, outside of the networking and having fun in the meetings and right being in the room, is making sure that you follow up. When you get home, right, you're not in Vegas anymore, but you still got to keep that same energy and being able to follow up and persist. And what was it? I mean, at this point, this was 2 weeks ago, and I know you want to get your responses right away. But a part of this is understanding that everyone's coming home and just getting flooded with emails. But you want to email and then maybe email again. You know, hey, I know it's been a minute, but here I am. So taking the time to realize that you are not everyone's priority. You should be your own priority, but you're not their priority. So when it comes to following up, don't take it as rejection. Just take it as a part of the process. And The most important reason why I felt compelled to do this video was to really educate my people and let the community, my people of color, you all need to know that the Licensing Expo has so much opportunity for us to provide our ideas, our authentic, we fill in this gap, this authenticity, that word that we're hearing so often. That authenticity is where we fill in the gap because we have authentic ideas. These are cultural contributions in a lot of instances where you have a game that just culturally speaks to who you are, where you were brought up, and what you do. That authenticity is something that you hold and basically are a bridge for a brand that is a big brand and might not have that authenticity and that language that you do based upon your experiences. It's so important that we understand that getting into the licensing industry as people of color is something that is rewarding really for the next generation. This is how they see themselves more. This is how we make an impact in this diversity, equity, inclusion. All of that is a part of what licensing has to offer when we're partnering with big brands. We know that partnerships and collaborations help us to go further for longer, and that's something that's very important when you're building a small business to understand right away. You're going to go so much further when you're able to get brand recognition, right, from a collaboration or a partnership. It's certainly helped my brand, being able to say that I've collaborated or have officially licensed Disney, or officially licensed Nickelodeon. Officially licensed is such an important term to understand as far as what value it brings and establishing a strong brand recognition. It's definitely something that people take into consideration, because if that person worked with you, then maybe I'll work with you. It's just context as to who you are and how you're able to establish your brand long term. With that being said, we going on 12 minutes. I don't really usually talk that much, so I'm about to wind this down and just say, try it, do your research, figure out if it's a place that you want to be. If you have a brand, if you have a toy, if you have a concept, if you have an idea, I implore you to put it on paper, start working on your mock-up for next year so that you can go to that licensing expo and present yourself, because there is something inside of you that the whole world will love. And I think that Licensing Expo is the perfect place for creatives, even if you don't know that you're creative. If you create something in your mind, if you have that imagination, it is a place where you need to be. This is how we get to that shmoney. And I hope this video was helpful. Honestly, I did not think I would enjoy the Licensing Expo as much as I did, but I'm really grateful. You want to establish these relationships with people for yourself, not just dependent upon an agent. You want to be able to speak up for yourself and articulate yourself and have those relationships that will help you long term. If you have any questions, please reach out. I am an open book. I'm happy to share, and I'm just super excited to introduce anyone new to the world of licensing. Bye-bye. Thank you. Wanda. My goodness. We're out here with Gracie's Corner, guys. Oh my God.
I should. I should.